All right, so you're thinking about making a move to the great state of Tennessee, and you want to know some of the bad things are about actually living there. Well, if you can't handle these 7 things that I'm going to talk about today, then you probably should avoid Tennessee. And let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Greg Spackman. I'm with the Living in Nashville, Tennessee channel. If you're looking to learn everything about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, even play here in the Nashville area, greater Nashville area, then click the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I do new videos. Lately, I've been getting a ton of people that are reaching out to me about making that move here to Tennessee and especially to the Nashville area, and I absolutely love it. So if that's you, please give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd love to talk to you. So here we go. Number 7 is traffic is pretty terrible in the state of Tennessee. It's really, really bad around the big cities. So that would be right around Memphis, right around Nashville, and right around Knoxville. So it just has gotten worse and worse as more and more people have relocated to these areas. When you get further out into the smaller cities, then typically you don't have as much traffic. However, certain cities are going to have a massive amount of traffic, even more than the big cities, because so many homes were built in the area and they didn't do a good job of expanding the roads. One example that I can give you is the city of Spring Hill and the city of Nolensville. Both of those cities have exploded in size, and the roads and infrastructure for all of that just hasn't kept up. When you're trying to get around during the major rush hours, it's pretty awful to get around there. Off rush hours, there really isn't any issue that I've seen in almost every town other than the big cities. And those have traffic all day long just for people going through it, driving from other states, people on vacation, that sort of thing. The number 6 reason that you should avoid Tennessee if you can't handle this, and that's Tennessee is a very, very conservative state. I think it might be the number 1 most conservative state there is right now. People might argue with me that Texas or Florida is more conservative, but I think Tennessee outranks both of them just from what research that I've done and seeing and living there, just knowing what I know. Tennessee seems to be the most conservative state. However, around Memphis and around Nashville, especially, you can get away from that. So just know if you're not super conservative or you don't want to live in an area that's really conservative, then you probably want to stay near one of those 2 areas and be closer to those cities. And the further out you go from all the major cities, the more conservative it's going to get in Tennessee. I'm sure that there are some cities that are out there, since there's so many different cities and counties in Tennessee, there'll probably be a little one here or there that might be less conservative than others. But for the most part, you're going to find that it's very, very conservative. The number 5 reason that you should be avoiding Tennessee is there are a ton of churches. So if you are one who doesn't go to church or isn't involved in church or gets bothered by church, you're going to see them everywhere. I don't think I've lived or visited anywhere else in the nation that has more churches than in the state of Tennessee. You're really in the heartbeat of the Bible Belt. So, well, that's a really cool thing if you're into church. If you're not into church, then it's something that could bother you. There are a ton of different religions that are here in the state of Tennessee. So if you're looking for a particular one, it's probably here. The number 4 reason that you should avoid Tennessee is parts of the weather. So the parts of the weather that I really dislike and most people don't seem to really enjoy is the summertime when it gets really hot and it's humid. And that runs somewhere between June through October. I think it usually ends in September, but sometimes it'll go into October. That seems to be the most nasty time of year for that, and my least favorite time of year. However, typically in most years, there'll be a week or 2 where it doesn't have that, it's not humid and it's nice and warm. And, it'd be really cool if the weather could just cooperate and make it like that all the time. But then you'd probably be living in another state out west, either California, Arizona, or Utah would be my guess that you live in one of those states. The other thing that you need to know is Tennessee gets a massive amount of rain. So if you don't like rain, then it's probably not a great state to live in. We have more rain in inches typically than like Seattle. Seattle just kind of does that, I don't know, misting type of rain where it doesn't rain really hard. Well, Tennessee, it can rain up to 10 inches in a single day and cause some massive amounts of flooding. Back in 2010, they had to redo all the FEMA flood zones and everything. So just know that. And then we have an excessive amount of pollen and we have seasonal allergies here in Tennessee. So if you suffer from allergies, you might want to come and visit when maybe in the springtime when everything is blooming and everything and see if it really bothers your allergies. But you can manage that with Flonase and Claritin. That seems to work pretty good for me. And then lastly, the most important reason possibly to avoid Tennessee would be tornadoes. So if you don't like tornadoes, then it may not be a great place. There are a few ways you can protect yourself from them, and that's with an above ground structure, an in ground structure, and then a master bedroom closet structure. So any of those three methods you can do to protect yourself from them. The good parts are you have really mild winters and it gets really, really nice in the spring and the fall. So it's usually really nice weather in the state of Tennessee for, 7 to 9 months of the year. You get weather that's really, really nice. For good measure, I'll throw in you also get to deal with bugs in the state of Tennessee. The number 3 reason that you might want to avoid Tennessee would be the sky-high sales tax. Tennessee has a 7% state sales tax rate, so that's what the standard rate is. A max local sales tax rate of 2.75, so the highest they can go is 9.75% taxes. There's an average of state and local tax rate. So Tennessee also has a flat 6.5% corporate tax rate, which is pretty high compared to some other states, cheaper than others. And they also levy a gross receipts tax that you should be aware of. The number 2 thing about Tennessee that you might want to not live here is Tennessee is landlocked, which means you have no ocean. You are bordered by Kentucky, Virginia to the north, and then North Carolina to the east, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi to the south, Arkansas, and Missouri to the west. So it borders quite a few number of states, and depending upon which part of Tennessee you're looking at relocating to, you're going to have different border states. But that's kind of a cool thing because you can go explore other states and see what they all have to do or what they all have to offer. To get to the nearest water, like ocean, you're about 7-8 hour drive down to Alabama, Mississippi, or Florida. And we just recently went to Destin, Florida. We never had been there. We lived in the Nashville area for a number of years. I want to say 8 years before we decided to go to the water. We should have done it sooner. Every springtime and fall, when they'd have their fall breaks, people would rush down to Florida to get to the water, and we never really understood why they went. Well, after going, I now understand why people go down there. The water is super warm. It's super clear. It's just a good beach feeling down there. And we have some partner agents, if you're considering buying a second home in that area, that we can help refer you to so you get taken care of. But that is an amazing place to go and stay. And that leads us to the number 1 reason that you might want to avoid living in Tennessee, and that's the public transportation. There really isn't any. You're going to have buses, and then a certain part of Nashville, there is a train that you can use that goes out kind of east out to the Lebanon area. But other than that, there really is no real public transportation. They haven't developed it or built it, and I don't really know how they're going to do it without tearing up or buying a ton of land from businesses or residents to build public transportation, unless they decided to go down the middle of the freeways, like an elevated, like light rail type system, which would be super nice if they would do that, but I'm sure it would cost billions of dollars, and who's going to pay for that? If these reasons don't scare you away from relocating or making that move here to Tennessee, please reach out to me and the team. We'd love to hear from you, help you on your journey here to Tennessee, whether it's in Memphis or Nashville or Knoxville. We'd love to help you. So until next time, I'm out.